again, if I had a nickel for every time I sat in a meeting and someone says, well, this application doesn't do X, Y, and Z, I might say, well, it actually does, or it does something really similar, or
Yeah.
you don't need X, Y, and Z. I
Yeah.
remember sitting down one time with the head of benefits at a large retailer in Manhattan, said, I need all these reports. So I said, all
Yeah.
right, explain them to me. What is this one? Oh, I don't know, but we need it.
Right.
All right. Okay. You got it done. Or what does this one do? Well, I'm not sure, but I'm pretty sure that somebody needs it at some point. So, yeah, I mean, look, using the tech well will not guarantee success, but I can pretty much guarantee you that the converse is true.
Yeah.
If you don't use the tech well, then I find it's again, is it possible? Sure. But in particularly, not just the tech, but the data you get from it. That's why one of the last chapters in the book is on analytics.
Yeah.
Because we're all dispersed, it is important for us to quickly be able to see which parts of a project, which people are behind schedule, who needs help.
Yeah.
Whereas before, if you and I are in a meeting or I just see you in the hallway and get a vibe that things aren't going well, I may not get that vibe because you're probably not on Zoom just sitting here like this working all day.
Right.
So those types of things, I think, again, they only increase the odds of success.
We're getting near the end of the conversation, and you actually brought up the final thing I want. I'm skipping over some of the concepts that you discussed in the book, which are really fascinating, like a project pre-mortem, whatever the hell that is. You're gonna have to read the book to understand that. What a project pilot is and how to run one. But you mentioned analytics, so let's talk about that. I mean, most good projects have good analytics around them. They've got you give an example of like a project management dashboard, and you also talked about performance reviews and rewarding employees based on the analytics. And I thought maybe we could just sort of end with this, that like Phil, like what are, first of all, what are some of the key analytics that you think are might be even unique to a hybrid led project, and what are some of the performance perks that you would recommend providing based on certain of these analytics?
Gosh, we could have a very long discussion
I
about
know
that,
it's a
but I
long
see
discussion.
nothing wrong with spot bonuses. You know
Okay.
what? You went above and beyond, and you busted your hump all weekend. And I can remember even the lack of that can be a real how do I put this politely, annoyance. So
Yeah.
coming full circle, coming back to that Philadelphia project from 2006, I remember. And again, this wasn't hybrid. You couldn't do the work from home. You needed to be there. Fine. So on Friday, I packed up from the hotel and went to work and was going to drive back to New Jersey at the end of the day.
Hmm.
Long story short, project wasn't going well. They said, we need you to be here on Saturday morning. So I had to drive home, unpack, check back in the hotel. I
Hmm.
get in on Sunday morning at 8 o'clock. Nothing. If they had gotten me a donut, and I'm not a big donut fan, but to quote the immortal words of Homer Simpson, donuts, is there anything they can't do? Just that little gesture would have gone a long way. So, in terms of which specific numbers, again, I wrote a separate book about analytics, but I thought it was really interesting to look at what the data can tell us. And there's an example of the book from another book, Project Management Analytics, about a construction company that was just hemorrhaging funds, and they determined that it was largely because of turnover, but then they did root cause analysis. Well, what's causing the turnover? And it turns out that there's a compensation issue, but also there's an issue with employee training. So
Mm.
they're frustrated, they don't get the training that they need. So again, I just think it's important to look at the data, and yes, it won't necessarily tell you the whole story, but I would counter the claims of your old school data phobe project managers. I don't need no stinking data to tell me what's going on, because again, I believe in the power of this stuff. Now, again, you can misuse it, and then let's not forget about Goodhart's law. Once we know what people are managing toward or measuring against, we can sort of tilt the scales for that. The classic example is we need to pay people on the number of nails they produce. Okay, fine. I'm going to create a bunch of these little nails smaller than thumbtacks that no one can use. No, we can't do that. We have to compensate them on the size of the nail. Okay, fine. Then it's a nail the size of the house that needs a crane to pick up. That doesn't make any sense either. So it doesn't take much intelligence to juke the stats. But I do think that, yes, there's a subjective part. And I'm not saying you quantify everything, but if it's just, oh, I like Gene, he's getting the job done. Okay, well, what does the data say?